How's it, everyone? This is Jordan here from Uprint SA in Durban. We're doing a training video onto your trophies. These trophies are very nice to brand on, very easy with our technology. We are definitely much better in the industry when we're branding onto a trophy, because you cannot get this into a UV printer, nor can you use a standard trophy to brand with sublimation. You've got to have a special trophy to do that. I can brand on any trophy system, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you now. Alright, we're doing a nice large logo. This is it's like a surface van with a bit of the sun behind it. It's going to be a nice print, nice large one. We're going to give that a shot. Alright, so what we're doing here is we've first warmed up the trophy with a heat gun. You can get it just to lukewarm, maybe 30-40 degrees, maybe a bit higher than lukewarm. It just helps with the transfer if you want to get it across a bit easier. We are using activator as our transfer chemical. Applying activator onto there, using the palm to spread it out consistently across the surface. Being more, you don't want too much chemical in one section, so you want to spread it out evenly across the whole surface. Alright, very important, the technique of bending this paper. You can see how Hudson's bent the top end of that paper and the bottom end. Why he does that is when he applies it onto the surface, remember the toner is sitting on the surface of the paper. We only want a certain part of the paper to touch first before we apply pressure. So he uses those two bent pieces to allow him to apply pressure only when he wants to in certain sections. This is the best way to brand with the larger logos using the yellow paper. So you're going to start from the bottom center, and he's going to work his way up. Look at the technique, very important on the technique. He's moving up and down like that, not all the way around side to side. The technique is extremely important here. It's going pretty much row by row, moving it up. Because that's got a bit of an arch at the top there, it hasn't touched to the top yet. Only when he gets to the top will that then apply pressure with the toners. And now you can move around once the page has been completely flattened out. Okay, it takes a look underneath just to see. Okay, the transfer is looking good so far. And that is a beautiful transfer. Very nice. Okay, next we're going to spray this with Polyprop, and then we're going to heat fuse it. Alright, what we're doing here is I'm using a piece of cardboard just to test the volume of chemical coming out of the spray gun. It's very important to have the correct amount coming out. If you overspray, it's going to damage that logo. It's not easy to damage it, but you don't want to overspray it. Okay, he's taking, look at the distance apart, he's looking at about 40 centimeters, moving side to side, making sure you've hit the entire logo. You must cover the entire logo with that Polyprop chemical. Alright, once you've covered that whole trophy logo with Polyprop, we are then going to heat that up with a heat gun, and then we'll move on to the next step. Very important as well, you must make sure your heat gun is at temperature before applying heat to the trophy. This trophy will not heat up properly if you do not have a heat gun that is getting to its highest temperature. Alright, next step, we're going to wait for this to cool down, and then we're going to clean it. Alright guys, moving on to our next step, we're going to be cleaning our logo, or over the logo, and the entire trophy glass to every point. Going to remove off all that excess Polyprop, and these two chemicals mixed together. 50-50 ratio is the best method of removing that chemical. Now, I understand that some countries don't sell benzene, so I will put a substitute up on the screen here. There is a couple substitutes for benzene, and I'm sure you'll be able to find that substitute in your country. Alright, let's move on. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're going to use a nice wet cloth, dipping it straight into that cup, using a very wet cloth, and you can apply a decent amount of pressure. It doesn't have to be a lot of pressure. First cleaning around the logo, removing all the excess polyprop. You want to get that trophy nice and shiny, nice and transparent. You can even use a bit of window lean or any window cleaning chemical that will buff up the glass. Now you can see he's cleaning. Alright, you can actually see the polyprop here. This is all polyprop. This is the skin coming off. That's the polyprop coming off the surface. You want to get rid of all of that. And he's going over the logo. You want a nice wet cloth. You want the chemical to do the work, not the pressure of the cloth. He's not using a lot of friction to remove this off. It's more a lot of liquid to remove that excess polyprop skin. We're actually using a second-hand trophy here. As you can see on the back, there is laser cut work on there. It's just for training purposes, but it is the other side is nice and fresh. Alright, we can now heat gun this again if you want, and this will brighten the colors a bit more after cleaning it with your benzene and methylated spirits, and I'll show you the end result afterwards. Thanks. Right, get your heat gun nice and hot, and then you can give that a heat gun afterwards. Doesn't have to be as long as your first initial heat after spraying the polyprop. It's just get it to temperature. It just brightens the colors. It brings the colors out again. It's activating that polyprop again, and then your product is ready for market. All right.